everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. So I have been MIA for a few days, and if you hear my voice and if I can make it through very many sentences in a row without talking, you'll know why I've been missing in action. Last week my husband had surgery, and then we found out that he wasn't going to be able to use his hands for a few days, and then I went to Michigan the day after he had surgery. So we're a little behind on my Try It class getting out, but I got home and we decided to spend the day that I got home. We gardened, and then we spent the rest of that day working on the class. So we did make up a little bit of time. And then that evening I started to not feel well, and I thought it was my allergies. I think it's a sinus infection. But today's the first day that I can really talk at all. So I'm going to try to power through this video. I can't make the Try It class videos yet because those are 2 cards at once. There's no possible way I can talk that long without going into a coughing fit. So I'm going to try to make this video, and there may be points where you just watch me do, or I'll fast forward them. I tried to do a simple card, so I won't have to talk a lot. I'm going to do something from the annual catalog, a new stamp set that I ordered while I was away. I placed my club order, and I got the Heavenly Hollyhocks. So I'm not going to talk a lot about it. It's in the catalog. It's on page 118. Really a fun set. I got it because of the dies. I'll show you the dies. It has a cute stamp set too. I like the words in it. See, I'm already having a hard time breathing. It's my husband is getting me a COVID test today. I've had COVID. This doesn't feel like COVID. Yesterday I couldn't smell, but I think it's because I'm so congested but I can still taste. And last time I couldn't taste or smell. Today I can smell a little bit more, but I think I'm just so super congested. But I haven't been able really to get out of bed until today. So it has some really fun sayings. We're going to go with It's Time to Celebrate You. I like that you make my life brighter. It has that, get well. I could make that for myself. Little stamp. But look at these dies. They're super fun. So I'm going to use the two bigger ones. They overlay if you want to, but you can use them separately. So they go like this. Now I'm not going to show you me putting them through. I'm going to use shimmery white cardstock. I did find that on my machine, it goes best. I don't know why I didn't pre-cut them. I went 1, 2, and then 3. And then on the next pass, I flipped so they were this. And then on the next pass, I very carefully made sure they didn't move out of the die, which they're big, so they're pretty stuck in there. I rolled them once more this direction, and then they were all the way popped through. So I will do that, and then I'll get to that step, and then I'll show you what they look like. So there's these 2 giant ones, and this matches the stamps, which I will show you that. And then you get these little ones. So there's, again, the overlay. So there's these 2 that overlay, and then these 2 that overlay, and then just some spare leaves. And I'll do another card in the future with those because there's tons of potential with these. So I'm going to use Petal Pink as my base because I'm going to use the new Petal Pink ribbon that I love. And then Shimmer White will be my background, and then I'm going to run the leaves through the Shimmer White. So I'll run those through, and then I will show you what that looks like. Okay, so I've done it through 3 times. I've already done my other one. And then after I did it once back and again, I flipped it upside down. And now you can see it'll come out perfectly. Now it probably would take one less time through, except these are plates that we've been using for my Try It class, so they're getting pretty worn. If my plates weren't so worn, I don't know why I'm using my snips. I have these laying right here. But see, now it'll just pull out. And it's super pretty. This is the skinnier of the 2. So there's a couple of pieces in here. Really, literally just a couple that have to be knocked out. And all the rest of it has fallen out. And here's the one I did just a second before this. So see, this one goes over the top, or you can just use them separately. And that's all the die cutting for this one because I'm only using those 2. See, I'm trying to do it so I can talk as little as possible. So now I'm going to take the Hollyhocks and I'm going to stamp them in Petal Pink. So you could use the Stamparatus, but I didn't, and I don't think that you actually have to. All you need to do is kind of figure out approximately where they want to be, because it doesn't matter so much, like what direction they go. It more matters that they're going to fit on your card and the leaves aren't going to go off the top. Now, on my first card, they did go off the top a little bit, so I just trimmed down here. It didn't matter. So what I did was I inked these up in my Petal Pink. And last week I was so busy, and so this week was supposed to be kind of like a little catch-up week with me because I don't have any classes that you all are signing up for. I have the Try It that needs to go out, and I had camp, which now if you're coming to camp, guys, I don't think I'm going to have it. So just kind of lay it like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to get the spot for it. So kind of like there. My cat's been all over the table, so I have a little bit of cat hair on things. And then just stamp this. But all of my blocks have stamps on them, and I was going to put them all back. But you know, sometimes the best laid plans. So just stamp this. This is a pretty stamp set on its own too. And I wasn't really sure like what colors Hollyhocks came in, so I Googled Hollyhocks. And they come in all kinds of beautiful colors. So I've got that. Now I'm going to color these. So we're going to start with our lightest colors. And it's not, actually I'm not going to do that. That's how I did it the first time. But the first time I didn't know what I wanted my card to look like. Let's go ahead and stamp this since I have the stamp pads open. So I'm going to take this. And then they've got lots of little stamps. I'm not even using close to all of the little stamps. So this one here is going to be in Petal Pink. Make sure you turn them so all your flowers don't go the same way. Some of them will get covered up with the ribbon. So just add those. You don't want too many. You don't want to fill your, you want this big one to be the focal point. So don't put too many. Oh, look, the longer I talk, you know, all I can talk to when my husband's not home is the cats. So I haven't talked a lot. I just know I have talked on the phone a couple of times to my mom and my sister, and then I cough. So now we're going to add a couple of leaves, just a couple, because again, I want this to be like background imagery. So that's it. And then I have Pale Papaya, and there's a little grouping of flowers. Just add those. And then in my polished pink, I'm going to add my saying. Now I'm going to add this up just a fraction in case I need to trim anything off the bottom. That gives me a little bit of space that I can work with down here. And it says it's time to celebrate you. So now I'm going to use my blending brushes and color them in. But I want to start with my lightest. And I'm not going to use my Petal Pink on the blending brushes. So the next lightest is the Pale Papaya. And then when I looked at them online, the Hollyhocks, like the colors tended to be bright on the inside or the outside. So I'm going to do the inside of mine, which will be this in the polished pink. So I'm going to do the outsides in the Pale Papaya. And then this one over here, I'm just going to get these little flowers, and I'm going to do those in Pale Papaya, but they can be a little light. That way I won't get a bunch of ink everywhere. Now I'm going to switch to my soft succulent, and I'll do all of the leaves in succulent. And there's no possible way that you can't keep from getting some succulent on flowers and some papaya on leaves. So don't worry about that. The overall effect will be there when you layer them. And now we'll do the polished pink on these larger flowers. And then once it's all done, it's a little bit easier to see if there's anything you need to go back and fix. But it's okay if there's also a little bit of white. Super easy, a lot of fun. Now this, see, this would be pretty on its own. Whoops. You could use just this, or you could use just this, or you can layer this on this and just use that, or you can layer them together like this, like how we're going to. So it gives you a lot of options on this particular stamp set on what you want to do. So I'm going to take my liquid fine tip glue. Oh, it's hard to use your words when you can't breathe. You know, the words are back there, but it just takes effort to get them out. So you don't need a lot. Just put it on some of these areas that have the bigger space. But the glue will allow you to kind of move it if you lay it down in the wrong spot. So you just kind of match those flowers up. And it doesn't matter where you stamped them. It just, oh, I hit those leaves kind of right underneath the other ones. My other ones aren't right underneath there. I couldn't have done that if I had wanted to. And then just hit a few places on here. So you can leave it just like that. You don't have to do both of them. And you don't have to have the stamping underneath. And you could use two colors of green. So to be honest, I would have, except that I'm not feeling crush hot. And I don't keep my stamp pads here on my stamp table. Partly because it makes me get up. Because I don't want to be a lazy stamper. And you know, I could sit here all day just at my desk. So when my stamp pads aren't here, then I'm forced to get up and go get them. But when you don't feel good, and I just had one here, I'm like, I'm just going to use the one. On another day, I would have gone up and maybe gotten another color and done 2 shades of green, but it is what it is. So you don't have to have a zillion colors. Now this is our new petal pink ribbon. I think it's my favorite one of the new ribbons in the catalog. It ties beautifully. The bows stay nice and flat. Just pull that. And we're just gonna layer it here. So wherever your bow fell, then just, that's where it's gonna go. I will tell you that I had closed registration for, and I haven't looked again. So make sure you're on my email list because I will have it in an email. I don't know if it'll be in today's email because I need to get an email out to you all, but it will definitely be this week. I closed registration for the Hues of Happiness class because they had sold out of the dies. But then when I looked while I was in Michigan, it said that they were back in stock. So if they're back in stock, I will reopen that because the registration for that wasn't meant to close until at the end of this week, I think. And I closed it. Isn't that pretty? And there's the petal pink. Look how nicely that ribbon matches. This has a real fun texture to it. We haven't had anything similar to it. I've also got to see the holiday catalog, which starts in July. I feel like we I mean, we literally have just started using this catalog. And there's another new one coming soon. This afternoon we have a Zoom session for, it's the virtual incentive trip. So we should be on the trip this week, but it was canceled because of COVID. So we're not on it, so it's the virtual one. And I'm over virtual events, and you know when you don't feel good? Talking to people and looking cheerful. So I haven't decided if I'm gonna do it yet. Today's just a Zoom session, but that is when we got to see the catalog. If we were seeing something new, and you never know, sometimes we got to see a couple of new products and how they made them last over the weekend. So they can get me with new stamps. But I'm just not feeling horribly social today because it's hard to breathe and hard to talk and hard to be peppy when I don't feel peppy. It's easier with you guys because if I have to, I'll edit myself out sounding not peppy. There we go. Isn't that pretty? I must admit, if it's more cheerful than I thought it might be. Because when I started, like, I have to film something, I thought it might not be the best day to film. So I just literally picked up, my husband had carried up the last order I got, and I had him take the club stuff out, and so there were a couple of stamp sets laying there. It was this one or the olives. And I did not feel the olives today because I'm not sure I could have done anything creative or cheerful with the olives. This one, I did. So make sure you're on my email list. That's the best way to keep up with everything that I've got going on. And I will catch you back here later. Hopefully, I will sound better soon. Have a great one. Bye.